You can now get a 30-day trial to experience The Athletic for free. Visit the link in the description below to try it now. Chelsea had a strange 2020-21. Disappointing under Frank Lampard and then dramatically improved under Thomas Tuchel, they finished the season back inside the Premier League's top four and by lifting the Champions League trophy. By every measure, that was a success, but it wasn't necessarily an indication that they are ready to challenge for a league title. To do that, they'll need another aggressive summer and to improve in a couple of areas, most notably centre-half. Cesar Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva and Antonio Rudiger started the Champions League final, and they seem to be Thomas Tuchel's first-choice trio. Andreas Christensen is a capable backup, and so is Kurt Zouma. And if necessary, Reece James can also be used as an exterior centre-half. Fikayo Tomori might now be staking a claim, but AC Milan have decided to make his loan move permanent, and while Maling Sarr would be returning from his year in Porto, it's likely too soon for him to be relied upon in the Premier League. So the situation is relatively healthy, but it could be more so. And with Azpilicueta approaching the twilight of his career and Thiago Silva soon to turn 37, there's clearly a need to invest in an automatic starter for the long term. Plus, given how important he's become, Silva's position is probably where the money should be spent, in the middle of defence on a feature defender capable of anchoring a back three. And his is a good profile for guidance. At his very best, he was among the most complete centre-halves in world football. An excellent forward passer across all ranges, a titanic aerial presence who won everything in both boxes, and a natural leader who captained his club and his country. So, not an easy task. But we are looking for a commanding presence who excels physically and technically and whose abilities are garnished by vital intangibles. Sevilla's 22-year-old Jules Kounde is too young to be a leader. His character is still developing, but he's a wanted man for good reason. Playing as the right-sided centre-back in a four, he was part of one of the stingiest defences in Spain last season, as Julen Lopetegui's side conceded just 33 goals. Kounde isn't a perfect match for Silva, but there are similarities. His distribution isn't quite the same, but he's expressive with the ball at his feet and is still reliable when passing it up the pitch. In fact, if anything, he's a better dribbler and more skillful. Whether he will ever have the same aerial presence as Thiago Silva is questionable, but Kounde is an enthusiastic one-on-one tackler who identifies and closes down space extremely quickly, and looks to become among the very best defenders of his generation. So while he's not at home yet in a back three, being surrounded by experienced players would allow him to evolve into that system over time, perhaps starting in one of the outside roles where his carrying would be a useful progressive tool. His height is a concern. 178 centimetres is short for a Premier League centre-back, but that too can be compensated for and managed around at the right moments. If size is a priority, Bayern Munich's Niklas Sule could be Chelsea's man. Sule is a rather deceptive player, in that his body shape, all 93 kilos of it, makes him look less modern than he really is. He's actually very skillful and can sometimes be quite extravagant. His feet are excellent and his passing is smart and reliable. And while he's quite an odd spectacle to watch and someone capable of making the odd mistake in possession, Zule's mobility makes him an effective attacking presence in open play. He's comfortable as both a centre-back and a full-back, which makes him perfect for one of the outside roles rather than Silva's anchoring position, but that shouldn't be a deterrent. His defensive abilities might be though, or at least Sule might be the kind of player who has to be complemented by the arrival of another. Someone with a more orthodox set of attributes, and that of course would have further spending implications. He's interesting, but probably not the perfect solution. If Chelsea are fearful of Kounde's size and suspicious of Zule's inconsistency, then Dortmund's Manuel Akanji would be a healthy compromise. A difficult negotiation perhaps, because the German club have just received a big fee for Jadon Sancho and might yet get a bigger one for Erling Haaland. But as his performance at the European Championship showed, it's hard to go wrong with a strong, quick centre-back who is also really skillful. Akanji stands in comparison with Thiago Silva. He ticks many of the same distribution and carrying boxes, and he would be a very uncontroversial signing, possessing all of the technical abilities necessary to fit in with a group who want the ball on the ground and the physical tools to survive the Premier League's toughest examinations. Akanji wouldn't be the most exciting arrival, but he would still improve a unit which has outperformed itself and now stands on the brink of its expiration date. Chelsea need to make their next defensive signing from a position of strength, not one of desperation. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to some of the world's best sports journalists, including David Ornstein, Daniel Taylor, Ollie Kay, Amy Lawrence and Rafa Honigstein. There are journalists dedicated to each Premier League team, so every fan gets the coverage they deserve, not just the big clubs. And you can try it for free now for 30 days. See the link in the description.